It's called Advanced Answering Techniques. So it is three professional people explaining to other people how to answer different questions, a multiple variety of questions. Advanced Answering Techniques.
Hello and welcome to Advanced Answering Techniques. I'm one of your co-hosts. My name is Josh. I'm joined by two other co-hosts. This is a podcast in which we take listener/user questions. We answer them in very strong ways. We give strong readings of questions and very close readings of our own answers. They are submitted to sort of meticulous criticism, I would say. Like at just about every level, certainly the grammatical level, and ultimately a strong understanding of history as well that informs many of our answers. We get into presidents, their order, all these kinds of things. I'm joined by one of my co-hosts. His name is Caleb. Caleb, what is your song of the summer, buddy? Oh, little sound effect.
Apple bite.
Apple bite? That's... Oh.
I'm sorry, I just got a little hungry.
It was maybe the wrong time to take to wait for me to ask you a question and then take a bite.
I think also that might be more like a song of autumn.
Well, sorry, excuse me. I was kind of trying to I was debating when I would take a bite.
Wait until the fall or right now.
And because I was holding this apple in my pocket, and I thought, when am I going to take a bite? And then I thought, well, I'm kind of feeling low energy.
Yeah.
But okay, favorite song though.
Yeah, like the song of the summer that you feel like is you're into right now.
Well, this is sort of a naughty song.
Oh.
But I love the dulcet tones of "Ain't Nothing But a G Thing" by Dr. Dre. Yeah. And I was listening to it today. I have a little place to put my phone.
Thank you.
Okay.
We might have to skip over to Gabe. Like this is. I hate to say that you're making a meal of it.
It's
more of a
not
snack.
meal.
Yeah.
Well, if it's mealy, sometimes apples are mealy.
It's a
Okay.
cosmic crisp, so it's not mealy
It's
at
not
all.
mealy.
Crisp is in the name. It's not cosmic meal.
I have a place to mount my phone right up near where my steering wheel is, so I can kind of, I can look at my phone while I drive constantly. And I was, I know most of the lyrics to "Ain't Nothing But a G Thing," but I was kind of glancing over, and then at one point, of course, Dr. Dre says the N-word,
Right.
And I was like, I wanted to see if Apple Music actually prints the N-word, and so I was like, I was driving.
You're one hand on the wheel,
one hand on the wheel,
both eyes on your phone.
For important.
glancing, trying to think of the words ahead to when I know there's gonna be an N-word.
Right.
And I glance at the screen and I look down and I see that it's not, it's not printed. He can say it all he wants, but
Right.
they won't print it.
Yeah, they're not editing they're not.
So it's just blank?
bleeping him.
It's not blank. There's a bunch of stars
okay.
marking where the word would be. Not even an indication of like what it begins with.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So I was just curious is there a way that like okay, I don't know this because I'm a white guy.
Right.
I have the biometric, the face scanner
Right.
thing.
Yeah. And so your phone knows you're white.
My
Face
phone
ID.
knows I'm white.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was wondering, like, I mean, if we have any black listeners out there,
Right.
Maybe not after
unlikely.
this.
But does when you scan in, does Apple? I was just curious if like maybe the phone knows if you're black, and then if it kind of unlocks the N-word.
Can you unlock the
Can
N-word?
you unlock the N-word in Apple Music?
That's a good question. So that's a question. Often we don't have questions; we give answers. But this is a situation where we just
Simply can't.
we just
answer
don't
this
know.
question.
Yeah.
There's no way for us to know.
Yeah.
So it would be good if we could get some closure.
Yep.
On
And
that.
look, if we don't have any black listeners,
Yeah.
maybe if there's a way that a white listener could, I don't know, do something
Yeah.
to their face to convince their phone that they're black,
Yeah.
then maybe that's a way we could find out.
It would be that would be pretty helpful.
Yeah,
I think.
you don't have to take a picture of it or anything.
Right. You don't. Yeah. Just see if it works.
Yeah.
Just let us know.
You just have to let your phone scan your face while you're in that state.
Yeah. Well, if it's
while you look like that.
maybe we have some listeners that are doing that anyway, and maybe they could just fit it in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would be.
I'd like to know who you are too.
Gabe,
Josh.
last week we've kind of been asking you questions about old crones and that sort of thing, and I think you said there's something you wanted to say about your question last week. The question was, when an old crone offers you a place to sit at a fireside on a gray rock, do you lick the rock? And you said you would. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to kind of deal with your answer a little bit.
No, I just
Specifically, he said that he licks every time he sits down.
Yeah.
He licks the seat before and licks the seat afterwards and compares.
and I thought that was when I listened back to the episode for quality assurance.
Yeah.
I
Guys, these episodes are quality assured.
Yeah,
mean-
these have all been approved.
there's really we haven't really set up the part of the process where it's like what do we do if it's not up to a standard? What's
Yeah.
the standard? Really, we don't.
Well, I think we have a thing that we do. Go.
Yeah.
So, what were you going to say, Caleb?
Oh, I was just going to say quality assurance would actually usually be done before the thing is released.
right, and I was listening to it after release.
It was released.
And yeah, and I just thought that was really gross. So I wanted to apologize to make it clear that that was just a joke.
It was a joke,
I don't actually do that.
right? Just
And I think I certainly hope that hearing that I did that didn't inspire anyone else to do that.
right.
And,
Yeah.
that would be really troubling to me. So
If you were putting something out into the world, and it was giving people the idea that
Yeah.
maybe they should do
right.
that.
And to be clear, if I did inspire you to do that, please don't tell me. Please keep it to
Please keep
yourself.
it to yourself.
So
Don't send us, any pictures of you.
certainly no pictures.
Yeah, doing that.
Definitely
saying
not a
this is
video.
Wouldn't
something-
it be
this is something
crazy?
Gabe taught me.
Wouldn't it be crazy if the same person who
kinda what I was thinking.
tricked the phone
Yeah.
also was
Yeah.
licking the seat?
Yeah.
Seat licker, yeah.
Phone tricker, seat licker.
She's a phone tricker. Seat licker. Okay, all right.
Time to get to Spotlightify comments here. We have 3 comments on the last episode. We're so thankful. Please, on Spotify, it's easy to leave a comment. Go ahead and if you think of anything during an episode, just get down to it. Let's look at these. Julie says, "Thank you for the advice, guys. It was about me. I love big hats. What can I say?"
Oh,
Okay.
That was
All right.
That was the last episode, which was about someone being basic. Julie very cleverly kind of asked the question as though it wasn't about her. We were unable to, I guess, see through that subterfuge, but so her trick worked.
Her trick
on
worked.
us.
Yeah.
but it is her.
It is her.
Yeah.
It was actually her. She loves big hats. Pamela says, Caleb's schizophrenic joke reminded me of What About Bob? Roses are red, violets are blue. I'm a schizophrenic, and so am I. And
Yeah.
and Caleb, if you just refresh listener memory on what your joke was.
Which version?
Your favorite
Your
one.
favorite one.
Yeah.
My favorite. Well, I mean, I think you're right. The slimmed down version is best, which is just. I was recently self-diagnosed with schizophrenia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very clean.
It's
like
clean.
Gabe said. Like
Sterile.
Gabe said several times. It's sterile.
Yeah,
And very funny.
so was I.
And just to go on the record.
Wait! I got it, but it's better now.
Okay, you improved
Okay.
it.
I was recently diagnosed with schizophrenia, and so was I.
That's perfect.
I was recently diagnosed with schizophrenia. And so
Self-diagnosed.
Yeah, I think
I
you
was
would
gonna
have
say-
self.
was
Well,
there.
okay, we can put the self back in. Yeah.
Okay.
I was recently self-diagnosed with schizophrenia, and so was I.
It's great.
It's perfect.
And then Justin has, I'm not sure. We kind of were mean to Justin last week. I did feel like we were mean to him. We accused him of being fake in his last comment.
Oh, yes.
Remember? And then we
Yes.
just sort of
Moved along.
moved along and didn't kind of really deal with it. We're just a little bit aggressive, I thought. So just if we could try to not do that this week. I'm not sure exactly what this refers to. He says, I've been sweeping the floors in the kitchen.
That seems like a
That seems
text.
real.
It seems like a text that he meant to send
Yeah.
to his, like, what have you been up to?
I think that's
Yeah.
real. I think that's his comeback.
Is
to
that what
us
it is?
As him making things up.
Yeah.
In the previous one, he's like just telling us
Oh.
literally what he's doing,
That is, I think that's right.
and that's a good man. That's a good husband.
It's true.
Sweep the floors.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. The kitchen, when I'm sweeping the floors in the kitchen, it doesn't happen as much as it used to for me. But it is amazing what in a...
You want a bite, Gabe?
No thanks.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
Josh, do you want a bite?
Yeah, you want a bite?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I guess for me, the gift that I would have appreciated the most was just being able to get through my stupid comment and then not have to now think, is that worth saying?
Yeah,
or
it's
getting
worth coming
on
back to
track?
because
I don't think it
I
is.
know where you're going.
Well, it's just amazing in a largish family how filthy your floors can become.
certainly,
yeah.
even in a small family.
Yeah.
And it's also one of those things that I don't do that often. It's like I'm mainly dish focused.
Yeah.
So sweeping, is lower priority, but
Yeah.
it always makes your house feel. It's like so much greater than the effort.
Yes.
The return is so much greater than the effort.
It is.
That's what I find with floors and sweeping. So keep it up, Justin.
I agree with that. As somebody who I was a professional floor cleaner for a little while for one summer, and it is frustrating to watch other people sweep floors because they don't know how to do it at all.
Oh yeah.
It's startling to see. You do the edges first. You got to do.
You start from the
gotta do
outside. You
edges.
work in.
You work in.
Yeah,
That's how it
it
works.
makes sense.
Guys, we have here a question from a listener. I believe he will identify himself early here. Let's hear from Arend.
Hello. For the purposes of this communication, you may refer to me as Erend. I'm calling in about to settle the story straight for the sheriff's deputy that called in a couple of weeks ago about Ethan Rogers and his death and his explosion. And and you also were concerned kind of about the cougar and the whereabouts of the cougar, and I want to settle that story straight too. I am from Germany, and I don't live in Germany anymore because I don't like the Nazis. And Ethan Rogers was a political supporter of the Nazi movement and wanted that movement to grow in America, and so I thought it was my duty to explode him, and so I used a German round, the Flak 88. That it is impressive. I was pretty impressed at how good the German engineering was. Say what you will, but good engineering, and it surprised me that it exploded and did what it was supposed to do. But I wanted to ask you guys if you thought I should turn myself in for doing that, exploding that Nazi man, Ethan Rogers, or if I should continue exploding Nazis or taking care of them some other way. Which, Fritz, introduce yourself. So that's Fritz. He's my cougar, my pet cougar, and go play with that big ball of yarn, Fritz. It's okay. Yeah. So he's all right, and I have ways of taking care of the Nazis if I'm not just exploding them. But should I turn myself in or not? Thanks, Dankeschön. Auf Wiedersehen.
The question is, should Erend, sorry, I got that wrong at the beginning, Erend turn himself in? He was perhaps in some ways implicated in the death by explosion and cougar attack of one Ethan Rogers.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he could have got away scot-free,
Yeah.
completely scot-free. Because it sounds like what happened was Ethan Rogers was up there.
Yeah.
Aaron already knew about this this system in place, a flawed
A
system
flawed system, we agree.
where when
Probably
you spotted,
we decided it was probably like grandfathered in.
Yes.
There's just regulations on the books that need to change.
Yes. So when you spot a cougar, calling a shell on yourself. So he knows about that. So he has a cougar.
Yeah.
He knows that the system will
Yeah.
once Ethan Rogers sees a cougar,
Yeah.
he will call in a shell on himself. He also manned
Yeah.
the artillery.
Yeah.
So
He must work for the parks. I mean, my thought is, does he work for the park system?
Yeah.
He's put
can
himself.
foreigners work for the park system?
That would seem.
Yeah.
It seems possible that
It's
that
not like being president.
Why not?
it's not an elected. It's not an elected
No.
office at all.
Why
it's
not?
just a job.
Why isn't it like being president?
Well, it's not elected, and,
Yeah.
the
And it's-
responsibilities are completely different.
It's
you're
for the land.
working in a different
You're like
branch of the government.
Okay, those
Yeah.
are all great points.
Thank you.
Thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah, I mean, you asked a question.
No,
that
I
you're
appreciate
to
it.
answer.
My question is, this is interesting because we did kind of have an explanation for how some of this stuff works, but now we're finding out that it's much more complicated. The situation with Ethan Rogers was motivated by, sort of Aaron having this vendetta against Nazis, having grown up. I did wonder how this kind of happened
Yeah,
for him,
right.
Because he's clearly he seems to be a younger man.
Mm-hmm.
So didn't necessarily grow up under Nazi rule, under
Sure.
the Third Reich, but did decide at a certain point that he didn't want to be part of a country that had anything to do with
Right.
Nazis.
Right.
But then he moves, presumably, to
Northern Idaho.
Northern Idaho, and then I guess feels that he has to deal with the Nazi problem
Fair.
in that area.
which
Yeah.
is considerable. you
yeah.
know.
I mean, out of the Pacific Northwest, if you want to find Nazis,
That's
that
maybe
is
where you
definitely
want to
the
go,
place
Yep.
to go.
Yep.
or stay away from if you don't.
Right.
Well, yeah, you don't want to find him. He seems to want to find
He
him
does
and
seem
take
to
care
want
of
to find
him.
him. He's doing something. He's
And
something of a.
I'm wondering
Nazi
also.
hunter.
Deputy Cornwall mentioned a ham radio enthusiast
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
CB radio enthusiast.
Yep.
Perhaps
Yep.
that's Erend here because we had assumed that it was the Park Service artillery
Right.
battalion
Yeah.
that had launched
Yeah.
that aerial strike on Ethan Rogers. But I guess maybe Erend
it would
has
be-
his own howitzer.
It would be interesting if he was the ham radio enthusiast who then contacted the police
Right,
to tell
exactly.
them
Right.
what he had done. I don't. Maybe this is my assumption is that that's a different person entirely.
Okay.
Who we may hear from in the future. Who knows?
Who knows?
But that,
I hope not.
you hope we don't hear from the ham
I'm ambivalent
Radio.
about it.
Okay.
enthusiast.
Yeah.
Who was able to intercept the call, I guess, to it was unclear exactly what was going on.
I mean,
Yeah.
now I think it was clear when we listened to it, but
yeah.
now it's unclear.
it's a little
Very
unclear now.
and
confusing.
that's okay.
Yeah. But so my assumption is he is not acting as part of the Park Service. I guess I've kind of come around to Caleb's way of seeing things. Foreigners can't have that job. And then is also not the ham operator because he's asking us now, should I turn myself in? It seems like he would have kind of already told on himself if he's contacting the authorities initially.
Right.
That kind of set off.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
I mean, what a life to live.
Yeah. Well, and it does make me feel really different about Ethan Rogers.
Yeah.
Oh, certainly.
I wonder if this changes Justin's last episode he was really, really sad about Ethan Rogers.
Yeah.
He
Missed
seemed to have
him a
some
lot.
kind of connection to Ethan Rogers.
Seems like he was very aware.
Maybe he knew him from some kind of like, I don't know, thing they did
social,
together.
maybe
Yeah.
something social.
Yeah.
yeah, that they've sort of they have a lot in common. And
It could just be just a human, response to
Yeah,
the
I-
loss of life.
Yeah, that could be it. But I think
So-
He
it
did say he
seemed-
missed him.
Yeah.
so it seems like he knew him.
Yeah, maybe that means like I missed him, like I never even, he like we just never crossed paths.
Oh, right.
Ships in the
Ships in the night, sort
Right.
of deal.
Yeah, just like a totally different meaning of missed someone.
Well,
than
not
what we
different.
typically mean.
Right.
Just alternate.
Well, Caleb kind of doesn't work for
Be
you
quiet, Josh.
for you to complain about that.
I mean, I understand we all have our idiosyncrasies, but this is just a bridge too far.
Okay.
for
Well,
me.
I'm not going to make any sort of assertions about what their relationship might have
Yeah.
been, where
Okay.
that in what,
Now, why are you so
lodge
cagey
that
about this?
I just don't want to
You don't want us to dig into it any
I-
further?
You don't want us to really, like, I don't know. Do
No,
you know
no.
these guys?
No.
Okay.
Interesting.
I mean, I know Justin.
We know. Yeah. Yeah.
But I totally missed Ethan Rogers.
Okay. See, now that makes sense, though.
Yeah.
The way you said it makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
For it
You
to be
can-
the other way.
You can miss me with that Ethan Rogers guy,
Yeah.
especially once I know he's a Nazi.
Yeah, I mean that's no thank you.
Yeah.
So you're saying you
He
would like
is-
to miss him if you were shooting at a Nazi? You would
Well,
prefer
no,
to
in that
miss
case-
him?
You can miss me with that Ethan Rogers
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah. In that case, I would not want to miss him. But it would be dependent on what, is he a threat to me or somebody,
It's probably
close
not
to
a
me?
threat to you.
Well, I mean, if he's taking any sort anyway, it's really anyway, it just sounds to me like he's Nazi kind of guy I want to spend any time with.
I mean, I think we're pretty much all on the same page, Caleb. I'm willing to say that. I don't really want to associate with Nazis.
No.
Is that something you're
Not
okay?
interested.
We can kind of be unified.
I mean,
on
I'd
that.
like to hear what they have to say.
I'd
I
like to
don't
hear.
think I'm going to agree with it,
It just depends.
given what I know about them.
There are certain subjects where I'm less interested, I guess, in hearing what they say. But say if there's somebody who's talking about maybe German engineering,
I was going
or
to say
something.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
definitely
just saying, like, we know what the old Nazis thought,
Right.
but we don't exactly know what these new Nazis think. Maybe they're course correcting.
Maybe there's progress within the Nazi Party.
I'm gonna
Is that what
no,
you're
I'm
saying,
gonna
Caleb?
go out on a limb and say that that's
I just
not,
don't know.
I think they're trying to just revive that stance.
So you don't
The-
think there's
the one that
any
we're
kind of
familiar
like
with.
we did this wrong, we should change this.
You're saying like maybe these new ones are progressive in some way,
I don't know.
We
for
don't
a
know
fact.
until we hear them out.
I'm not.
I
going,
guess that's all. I don't really agree with Caleb. I think we can kind of just reject them. But that's kind of what you're saying.
That's kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I'm not going on these forums online looking into
Right.
what they believe.
Right.
Gabe may be doing that and know
He
that
seems-
he doesn't. That he's parted ways.
Right.
I'm not doing that.
So
it's
you
just that-
haven't parted ways.
Gabe,
It's just
Okay.
that sort of some of that news
Yeah.
when they do something or they're
Right.
they have a protest or some sort of march. Some of that news just trickles in. You
Yeah.
just end up seeing it, and you're kind of like, all right, these guys seem like they're kind of beating the same drum.
It does seem that way.
So-
a lot of their concerns.
I think it's safe
This
to
is-
just dismiss what they're saying. I think it's right to dismiss.
Yeah,
what
I'm
they're
not
saying.
looking for it.
This
So
has been such a. We've really touched on a number of sensitive topics on this episode. so
I'll be
far.
honest. It's really, it's
I can't even think of what you're talking about.
Right.
What do you
Yeah.
mean?
I just mean at the beginning we're talking about
like right off the bat.
right off the bat
Like-
we were discussing sort of whether or not apps are aware and of your ethnicity, your racial
Oh.
identity, and if that helps you
That's-
access deeper features within certain songs.
I mean,
like
I
that.
didn't describe it as a feature.
Well, how would
said,
you
like,
what would you say it
unlocked.
was? Unlock the
Well, yeah, unlock
N-word.
the true meaning of,
Oh.
or the. I mean, it's you can hear it, but you just can't see it.
Now we're back on
gotcha.
it.
I now we're spending so much time. We're
So
yeah.
should Aaron turn himself in? I mean, has he already done so effectively? I mean, I guess we don't know that Aaron is his actual name.
We don't. He
Yeah.
did say, for the purposes of this call, I'll
Yeah.
be Errand. But I don't know. Maybe it's pretty easy once you know that you have a man of German extraction, who owns a cougar.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
Yeah.
that limits the field a little bit. The police might be able to sort of triangulate that
Do you,
person.
do you think the cougar's real name is Fritz? Or
In some ways, it might not matter too much.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a good question. I don't know how the Cougars would have to have a pretty major sense of irony because he did respond to the name Fritz. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Right.
So for the Cougar, it would have to be pretty a developed sense of human language to go, oh, this is my pen name, my nom de
Right.
plume.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, it's like, what difference does it make?
If
Yeah.
you guys had a cougar, what are you naming it?
Um,
John Mellencamp.
that's good.
That's a long name to
yeah.
be calling in the
You call him
neighborhood
John?
when
Yeah.
he's missed.
Yeah, I think for me it would be Susan Sarandon. She's something of a
Nice.
cougar.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
I don't even know if there's got to be a better. That's who came to mind for some reason.
Yeah.
There's got to be a better example than Susan Sarandon.
Susan
Cougar
Sarandon.
wise.
I mean, yeah, but you
Demi
guys
Moore.
are both
Yeah,
good.
Demi
Demi
Moore
Moore's-
is good because of Ashram Kutcher.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitive. Should have said Demi Moore.
Yeah.
Well, it's too
Ashton
bad
Kutcher.
you didn't.
I didn't.
It's Susan Sarandon. And guess what? I'm naming my cougar
Oh.
Demi Moore.
Demi.
Yeah, because Demi's good. That's like a good. You can yell that. That's what
You
you
want-
think of when you're naming a pet that could go missing.
Exactly. You want like a nice 2-syllable.
You don't want to be
name
out
also.
in the
Yeah.
woods yelling, John
Susan-
Mellencamp!
John.
John Mellencamp!
Well, the nice thing
John.
with that is you could just you could just shorten it right to
Yeah.
Cougar.
Yeah.
You just call him Cougar.
Cougar. It's
Cougar.
right there in the name. I don't know, but then I think you're
Cougar
prob-
in the name?
Well, so his name, he's had many names. I think he was John Cougar, and then he
Oh.
was
John-
maybe John
Cougar,
Mellencamp, and then
yeah.
he was John Cougar Mellencamp or
Oh,
something.
so
I
why
don't know what
even
the
give him
sequence
this
was.
name?
Because
I
I
guess
I guess
if
I
you're-
thought it would be kind of funny.
I mean, okay.
I guess I was wrong.
On the basis of the apparent ability of these animals to understand language, I think cougar was a bad thing to say out in the woods. You're calling your cougar,
Yeah.
but they're pretty
Any cougar
aware.
would be like,
yeah.
So that makes sense because then you could say John Cougar Mellencamp, or you could just say John or Mellencamp.
Yeah.
But I'd prefer to just be out in the woods yelling, Demi!
Demi. And
Demi!
I'm out there, Susan.
Yeah. Right.
And
We're
then
all
required by
all of
law.
our cougars got away.
yeah. What are they doing? What are they up to out there?
Lord only knows. Hopefully they have good intentions, like Fritz out there killing Nazis.
Killing
Yeah,
Nazis.
triggering some way to kill a Nazi.
Nazi
Not
killing
even
cougar.
actively doing it.
Well, they were. I mean, the Nazi
he
was
injured.
attacked by
yes.
a cougar.
That's true.
Yeah. So
That's true.
So it could have been Fritz. It was most likely Fritz.
seems likely that it
Yeah.
was Fritz, if that's his name.
And
Seems like it is.
yeah. So I mean, I guess good job,
Yeah.
Aaron.
Yeah, Aaron. I
You know,
don't.
generally we like due process in this country. I don't know how things go in Germany, but we
It's-
do
yeah.
try to, have
So
a-
I don't know if they're as big into do. Maybe they've made certain changes, but it
Yeah.
seemed like it wasn't
yeah.
They were definitely into processes.
processes.
Yeah.
were occurring.
They're not into.
wasn't-
Maybe they're into don't process now.
Yeah.
Just because we say do
Right there.
process.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
so-
right there, and I want to say it, but I won't.
So one thing
Oh, I know what he's thinking of.
Yeah.
I don't, but I love the idea
It rhymes
that
with Jew.
the one thing I wanted to comment on, we'll swing right back by the kind of substance of this question, but it did seem like Fritz wasn't sure if he should play with a big ball of yarn. You notice
It's
that
okay.
in the question, it's okay.
It's okay.
You can play with a big ball of. You can play with the big ball of yarn. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be that Aaron is trying to train some of the, more kitten-like, aspects of his personality out.
Yeah.
It's okay to play sometimes.
Yes.
You can't
That's
play all
good.
the time.
That's
Yeah.
good. This is a cat that has kind of been
Right.
pretty rigorously trained.
Yeah, you can play.
Yeah,
you
it's
can play
okay.
a little bit, but you got to stay focused on your primary objective of hunting Nazis that are on hikes in
It's
the Selridge,
Selkirk Mountains.
Mountains.
Yeah.
But ultimately, what do we are fans of due process. I think justice is important. I guess there's a sense in which if you accuse someone of Nazism in the U.S., that doesn't go very far as due process goes,
No.
right?
No.
So just being aware that somebody is a Nazi, and then killing them for being a Nazi.
He said he was a political supporter of the Nazi Party, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess that just means he's a Nazi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has certain views that align with Nazism,
Yeah,
and
He
he's-
doesn't support it in other ways.
I guess I would say it's definitely edging him into
Yes.
that
area.
end
It's
of the spectrum.
And the old kind, not the new one that we just don't know if they've changed or,
that's a good question.
Yeah.
Would that affect
again,
the outcome of of kind of what we're talking about? I don't know that
Yeah.
it would.
none of the research that I may or may not have done has dissuaded me
Right.
from the opinion that
they've, like,
they're pretty much the same.
totally changed what they're
Right.
doing.
I don't think that's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Suddenly-
that's a bummer.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a shame.
it seems like if they were going to make the big changes, they would maybe just call themselves something different.
Yeah.
Than
We're
that.
just gonna, trying to redeem
Yeah.
the term Nazi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem.
This term's really been
Ooh.
dragged through the mud.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a good reason why.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know?
I
So-
think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
At least for the past stuff.
Aaron, I guess my read on this is that you don't worry about turning yourself in. I do think that you've done the right thing in this circumstance.
Vigilante justice against
I mean,
someone who's
maybe it's not the right thing, but I
Who's-
think like the outcome does kind of, it's not the worst outcome. I guess.
Is it like he, Ethan Rogers at one point donated some funds to the Daily Stormer, and that makes him a political supporter of the Nazi Party and deserving of death?
yeah. I mean,
mean,
what exactly are we talking about? I guess without more information, it would be interesting to know what he was submitting as his question initially, which we never found out.
Right.
Because
Ethan Rogers.
Ethan
yeah.
Rogers, he
Yes.
was attacked, and then his question became, "What do I do?"
yes.
Yeah.
So maybe if we knew what his initial question actually was,
Right.
that would help us to go. I'm just curious
Yeah.
if that would shed any more light.
It really
Yeah.
does just highlight the complexity of life and the
Mm.
difficulties
Yeah.
of like just knowing, like, how do we know what we know?
It's
Right.
real
Like,
epistemic kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
problems.
Yeah, and maybe what we don't know is that he rehearsed his question before recording and sending it in.
Yeah.
And maybe his question was something like, how could the
Right.
neo-Nazi party,
Rebrand.
rebrand and maybe make some progress. And Fritz heard that and was like, well, that's all I need. That's the due process I need.
Now the due process is just
Pounce.
in the mind of a cougar.
Yeah.
A cougar that knows, you know, the
Pretty
difference
good understanding.
between his real name and his
Yeah.
fake name, potentially.
A yarn-addled mind.
Ooh. Yeah, his mind is like a ball of yarn.
Yeah.
Just wound around itself. I mean, that's a pretty, I think, poetically rich description of what happens in the fascist brain.
Yes.
It sort of gets wound. You have kind of this one central problem, and then you have all of these
The right and the left get all mixed
all
up together.
mixed up
Yeah.
into one thing.
Yeah, and it's a big mess.
Thanks so much for listening to Advanced Answering Techniques. If you'd like us to treat your questions this way, you can submit them to advancedansweringtechniques@gmail.com. We're looking for an audio file of some kind, about a minute in length. Guys, anything that we need to deal with right here at the end? Do we?
I just want to say sorry.
Yeah, I think that
You guys feel bad about
Probably-
some of the things some
Yeah.
of the subject areas that we got into?
there's nothing.
I'm sorry. I mean, I'm sorry for eating an apple. That's
Oh,
Well,
that's all
okay,
I'm
okay,
sorry
yeah.
for.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did it twice.
Well, I'll go ahead and
Sorry.
apologize for Caleb's other behavior also.
What was that?
Just, you know.
Some of your racial questions.
Yeah.
Racial questions.
Yeah.
It's more about technology.
Okay. Some of the Caleb's technology focused questions, and I guess some of his musings on the political climate,
Yeah.
you know.
You feel that was kind of I just want to get an idea of exactly what you're saying. You're saying that
Yeah.
it treating some of those things with sort of the lightness of humor isn't giving them their due. Is that kind of your question?
Yeah.
Or your
that's
position?
basically my position on it. But you know, if we can't joke about it, then, you know, that's probably bad too, right?
Right.
Is that bad?
And where did we? I guess I lost the track a little bit of where we kind of came down. Should he turn himself in? Gabe, I think you said that he shouldn't.
I said that he shouldn't. I was going to continue to say, don't make a habit of this.
Right.
And maybe if you do want to pursue this as a pastime, maybe see. I mean, I don't think there's any reason you wouldn't be able to work for the Park Service Artillery Battalion.
Yeah.
But
make an honest man of yourself in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
right.
you're going to want to mention that you've already kind of done this work.
Right. This is happening anyway.
Yeah, I mean, really, that's take what you love doing, and you'll never work a day in your life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just hanging out at the Park Service Artillery Squad and like cleaning the machines.
Is it a
and waiting
battery?
for
What
it.
do you call them? Is it an artillery battery?
A battery.
I can't remember the term for it.
Yeah.
That makes. I mean, it makes some sense.
Maybe? I don't know.
Battery.
Anyway, if once you find out, Aaron, let us know.
Let us know. Lots of open threads on this episode.
A little bits of yarn.
Yeah, I was
hanging
going to
out.
say.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.